Hey, welcome to the Hoop Collective podcast. We talk about the NBA. Joining me from Boston right now is Tim Bontemps.
Hello, Brian.
Joining me from Dallas, Ben McMahon.
Howdy, partners.
So we are getting ready for the second half of the season. It's not really the half. We went past the halfway point weeks ago, but
we're getting ready for the second third.
Wait, yeah, get ready. The final third.
The stretch.
I'm glad somebody could do math here.
Math. They say in the UK, they say maths. I was like, somebody can do maths. So the Eastern Conference just had as much of a shakeup trade as you will almost ever see midseason, with the Sixers and the Sixers and Nets making the swap. And one of the things that's up in the air is, how is the East going to shape out now that this big deal has been made? And so, as we sit here today, as we're waiting for Simmons and Harden to play their first games, Bontemps, who do you have as your favorite, so your number one team in the Eastern Conference?
Same team it's been since before the season began, and the same team that I think is going to repeat as champions. That was a good job by me. The Milwaukee Bucks. I thought Milwaukee coming into the season was the best team. I thought the championship pedigree that they earned last year with their run through the playoffs was going to serve them well. I think it has. They've had a lot of injuries. They've been up and down, but throughout all of it, they have not panicked at any point. They feel confident they're going to get Brook Lopez back in the next few weeks. He obviously will be a key piece given some of the guys they're going to have to go through, Joel Embiid, in particular. But I think when you look at their trio of guys, Drew Holiday, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Chris Middleton, when those three guys play, the Bucks are awesome. And as long as those three guys are healthy with the supporting cast they've got around them, I think they're the team to beat, not just in the East, but in the league.
Yeah. Plus, when we're talking about the trade that shook up the Eastern Conference, we are talking about Serge Ibaka to the Bucks, right? That's right. That's what I've got in mind. But look, Giannis, the dude, is fresh off a 50-point performance. Last time we saw him play in a finals game, another 50-point double-double. The guy orders nuggets by the buckets. He is the most dominant two-way force in the game. And again, until somebody knocks the crown off their head, I agree. The Bucks are the team to beat.
Speaking of that, I asked recently somebody who would know. I don't want to say who. I was like, how come Giannis didn't get a chicken sponsorship after that? I mean, it's like the greatest ad you could ever do. He wins a championship and he goes and asks for the nuggets. And the answer I got back was, well, the offer was, free chicken for a year.
Oh, God.
I mean, Giannis makes $400,000 a game. Oh, free chicken for a year. Yeah, let me sign up to let you use my name.
Yeah,
hello.
That seems like another restaurant might want to swoop in and steal the thunder there.
Another restaurant did swoop in, but I don't think the offer was any better. But
by the way, when those three guys play, Milwaukee is 24-6 and is a +12 when those three guys are on the court.
Well, so after the trade happened, I thought, boy, for the Eastern Conference contenders, teams like Milwaukee, Miami, specifically those two teams, it really wasn't, maybe the best thing. Even Boston now, I guess you could maybe say, because I was thinking, both of those teams to a certain extent were wounded. And now this trade, Simmons is now reanimated and active. Yep. And Harden had pretty much shut down, and now he's going to be going. And so I was like, this was two teams that were sort of limping along outside the top five in the standings that now is a real threat. Shouldn't this be like really bad news to all these contenders? Even, throw in Cleveland in there. And
don't forget about Chicago.
Chicago, of course. I think all those teams would be
Miami is still tied with the Bulls for first in the East.
Right now. And the answer that I got when I was talking to a couple executives was maybe not. And that's because there was a fear about Brooklyn. If Brooklyn could ever have gotten those three guys healthy and able to play all the games,
healthy and available,
their top end was so high that teams thought, I don't think we could beat them. I mean, certainly if you're Milwaukee, I mean, Bontemps is right. Milwaukee has played strong basketball when they've needed to do it, and strong basketball when they've been whole. But they still almost lost to the Nets last year, and that was without Kyrie and a limping Harden. You have all three of those together. It's a war of a series. And so Now that that's been removed, now that we know that there's not going to be that three-headed monster, that sort of top end isn't there, even if you have to deal with an improved Sixer team, I think that they're okay with that situation. And so, in a certain sense, teams like Miami and Milwaukee and Chicago may feel like they've got a better chance because they don't have to worry about that sort of coming together at the end, because we don't know what the vaccine mandate rules are going to be.
Well, and also, like, how often do you see a star traded mid-season play a major role on a championship team? It's this ain't fantasy basketball. You've got to develop chemistry. You've got to figure things out. I mean, Clyde Drexler, was that the last like superstar level?
Him and Rasheed Wallace, I would say, are the two.
So it's been a while, and I think like if you, it's easier to picture the fit for Ben Simmons in Brooklyn, but there's so many questions. That the health of KD obviously is a huge one. I mean, Kyrie at this point, we just have to assume he's going to be a as Barkley said, half man, half a season type of guy, half man, half a series. And then, like Simmons hasn't played all year. Also, like, is he going to embrace being kind of the number 3 guy, the connector, and more so than a star? And then I've got 1,000 questions about the fit with Harden and Philly. The Harden and Embiid fit. How does this guy who wants to ice all the time versus a guy who wants to dominate from the post? How does that mesh together? Not to mention, like, frankly, there's like this assumption they're getting MVP caliber James Harden. Is motivation the only reason he wasn't that dude all year in Brooklyn, or is the fact that lifestyle and miles and all those kind of things have caught up to him?
Haven't you heard he's got a bad hamstring? So think about it like this. Think of I think if you could say the 5 top teams in the East: Milwaukee, Philadelphia, Miami, Brooklyn, Chicago. Let's just say that those are 5 contenders with all due respect to Boston. They're right there. Cleveland probably is knocking on the door. But those 5 teams, one of them ain't getting out of the first round. Okay, only 4 teams can make it out of the first round.
The Celtics say maybe 2 of them ain't getting out of the first round.
Maybe you're right. So, like, I mean, can you imagine?
Well,
like,
Brooklyn's almost certainly playing one of them in the first round.
Right.
So there's automatically you're going to knock one of those teams out just by that.
Right.
Well, you're disrespecting the Raptors, assuming that the Raptors and the Hawks and Hornets by assuming Brooklyn's getting out of the play-in.
My point is they're in the play-in, so they're either not going to make the playoffs because they'll be missed the playoffs in the play-in, or they're going to be in the play-in and play one of the top 2 seeds, which is almost certainly going to be Milwaukee, 2 of those teams that we're talking about.
Yeah, and for as big a mess as the Hawks have been this season, like, they did go to these finals last year.
Well,
yeah, I'll tell you what, if you, like we've talked about on the pod before, if you're Brooklyn, you don't have Kyrie and you're the 9th seed and you're playing Atlanta, winner take, in a winner go home game in the first game of the play-in, I don't want to see Trae Young and those guys in a game where they could make 25 threes on a team that's got pretty suspect defense and knock you out.
Well, I like
if you're the 9th seed, have Kyrie, but yeah.
I like the Nets to rally.
No, they'd be the home team.
Oh, duh. I'm an idiot. Sorry, go on.
We should just isolate that and just start every podcast with that. Durant is coming back. Ben Simmons, I assume, is going to be activated. I'm betting on them to not be in the play-in. I'm betting on them to come storming up the standings.
Maybe.
And they do. They've got shooters around them too. I mean, we'll see if Joe Harris comes back this year. That's certainly in question. But Seth Curry, Patty Mills, I mean, they've got guys who can fill it up.
It's also fitting that we spent all this time talking and we haven't talked about the Miami Heat, the team that has quietly rolled along and been really damn good despite having a ton of injuries. And I thought coming into the season, if that team was healthy when they got to the playoffs, they would be a real tough team to play. But I thought they might take some games off during the regular season because of their age. And the fact that they're playing this way with guys in and out of the lineup all season, I think they are going to be an absolute monster team in the playoffs. And I think that they've just been they've been perfectly happy to float along with nobody talking about them. And I think they're going to just be a really, really potent force in the East if they're ready to go come mid-April.
Plus,
tell you what,
Spoelstra has shown he can really go to work within playoff series.
Mhm.
He's one of the best in series coaches we have in the league.
Yep.
Yeah, and they will just be misery to play against. I mean, when you look at what they have just from a defense perspective, just in terms of
Bam
talent,
Adebayo,
toughness,
PJ Tucker,
intelligence.
Kyle Lowry, Jimmy Butler.
Yeah,
Have
those
fun
guys
scoring
are
on
just
that.
going to beat the hell out of you and wear you down physically, mentally. I mean, you can't dismiss that. And then, hey, it's not like they've got to win games 80-78. I mean, they've got guys who can put it in the hole too.
Yeah, for years we were like, boy, we can't wait for the Western Conference playoffs, and ESPN alternates with TNT every year, East and West playoffs. This year the ESPN has the Eastern Conference Finals, and there were years like, oh man, we got the East. Oh well, that's not the case this year. This year, the Eastern Conference playoffs. I mean, Western Conference, you got teams with losing records making it right now. So it's been a real flop, and really watching how these teams develop after this trade. It's going to be a big thing to watch as we go into March and April. All right. Thank you for watching the Hoop Collective. You can listen to our podcast twice a week, wherever you get your podcasts. And we appreciate you watching.